so they will burn your place down. Hey guys, welcome to Backyard Reactions. Before we get to today's trailer, I would just ask that if you like what I'm doing, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to smash that reminder bell. It helps me get my videos out and grow my channel. All right, so we're going to go through a slideshow, and I just took pictures, and the reason I took pictures was I didn't want to interfere with people's private lives and their privacy, etc. There's a lot of trash, and there's a lot of burnt down buildings. I did go in the summer, so I just want to let you know that the population in Slab City in the summer is much smaller than it is during the wintertime. In the wintertime, there can be 4,000 or 5,000 people. In the summertime, it dwindles down to maybe a couple hundred, maybe even less than that because of the heat. The heat in Slab City is about 115 to 120 for 3 months straight. That's bad, especially when you don't have sewage. You don't have any running water. You have no electricity. So it's not very, safe, if you will. All right. So what we're looking at here in slide number 1 here, it says Slab City welcome. So these buildings, and I have maybe a better picture. Let me see if I can go. All right. So these buildings, these were concrete security buildings that were built by the military back in the 1940s. This was Slab City was originally built for the military, and what they did was they poured these concrete slabs out there in the middle of the desert. This is in Imperial County, California, by the way. And so what they did was they built these slabs for tents, for military tents and buildings and that type of stuff. And then after the war was over, the military just got up and vacated this property. So I believe it is still owned by the federal government, this land, but it was completely abandoned. So what happened was squatters, they came in, they moved in, and they just occupied the slabs. Now, they're not paying anybody for the property. They're not paying anybody for taxes or anything. So you can see why it would be attractive to certain types of people. And I'm not bagging on them. This is the life they choose. It is what it is. But I just wanted to kind of give you the back history so that you had an idea of what Slab City is and why, how it came about and why people live there and that type of stuff. So there's no building codes. Again, there's no electricity. There's no running water. There's no sewage or septic tanks. They do dig honey holes, which are just holes in the ground, and RVs will then dump their gray and black water into these holes in the ground and then just cover them back up. Probably not the safest for the environment, and certainly I wouldn't think it's legal. But again, what goes on in Slab City tends to stay in Slab City. So I want to go through the slideshow again, that these concrete buildings, these were originally security buildings. They're all concrete, built by the military back in the 1940s. And so you'll see several of these as you come into the city. This is another one here. And all the artwork is done by local artists that live in Slab City. It's interesting because Slab City is made up of artists. It's made up of people that are just trying to escape life for one reason or another. There are a lot of drug addicts and even drug dealers that live in Slab City. There's young kids who live in Slab City all the way up to older folks. And it attracts all walks of life. So use your imagination, and someone like you're imagining right now lives in Slab City, or may have lived in Slab City. So this is the Krusty Slab, and I'm going to go in advanced because the Krusty Slab is a place where they serve dinner and they serve drinks on Saturday nights during the live concerts at the Range. The Range is it's a stage that's built on a very large slab in Slab City. And the local people that live there will come and they will play. They will have open mic nights on Saturday evenings. I believe it starts at sundown. And anybody that wants to come up can plug their instrument in and jam away. what I've seen on other YouTube videos, there's a lot of the same people that do it, but there are some other talents that come in and just want to come in and play at the range for one night. This, I'm sure, is a lot busier in the wintertime than in the summertime, but my understanding is it's every Saturday night at sundown. So that's the entertainment, and they do drink a lot, they do party a lot, they do dance and things like that. And from my understanding is it happens every Saturday night. So pretty interesting. Again, this is, let me go back here. This is the Krusty Slab. That is where they serve the food or the drinks out of for the people that attend the concert. So that's the stage. This is where people would sit. This used to be filled with just couches and love seats and that type of stuff, lazy boy chairs. But as you can see, behind the original couches and things like that, they've now built, I don't know where they got these, but they built benches, or they almost look like church pews of some sort. And they have, they're all lined up. So there's plenty of room to sit and be entertained if you want to. And there's plenty of room in front of the stage and on the side of the stage to dance, if that's your thing. So let me go back. Okay, so this is a front shot. This would be right where you would park if you were driving to the range for a Saturday evening for open bike night. Notice the two old buses. I believe they were built in the 40s or 50s. I'm not sure exactly which, but the two old buses sit opposite side of the stage. It makes for a pretty cool backdrop for the range. And the reason they call it the range is because there is a range of music and a range of artists that perform at the range. Kind of cool. 887, I assume that's a made-up address. I'm not 100% sure. Just on a side note, just so you know, these people, the post office will not deliver to Slab City, but FedEx and UPS will. As long as you have an address, you can make up your address to be whatever it is. They will find you and they will deliver Amazon packages, etc. A lot of people, actually, when I was there just a couple weeks ago, there was a UPS truck that was delivering something to someone in Slab City. When I was there, it was late June, and it was about 115 degrees when I was there. That's a zoom, a close-up shot, so you can see the hubcaps. Everything about Slab City, for the most part, is all about artists and artistry work, that type of stuff. So they do get pretty creative, and I'll get into East Jesus, which is part of Slab City. It's a very famous part of Slab City. I'll get into that in just a bit. Now, this is a picture from within the library at Slab City, so it's kind of cool because when you drive into Slab City, you'll come into the main entrance. It's about 3 miles north of the closest town. The Imperial Valley and the Imperial County is very, very poor. In fact, I heard it's one of the poorest counties in all of America. So when you drive into these towns, they're just very, very poor. And then you drive 3 miles up this bumpy road and you come into Slab City. Once you come into Slab City, you're going to see, and I'll get to this in just a bit, but it's called Salvation Mountain. I'll show you pictures of that in just a bit. But when you come into Salvation Mountain, you know you're in Slab City. If you follow that main road straight, you're going to come to a T in the road. If you turn right, you'll come to the library. You'll see the Internet Cafe, which is for locals to go to and get onto the internet, onto the Wi-Fi, or recharge their phones, whatever they need to do. It's kind of a hangout spot. I think you can get a cup of coffee there too. There's also the Slab City Hostel, which is up there near the library. But we decided it was so hot, we didn't want to spend a ton of time in Slab City. And again, I don't want to interfere. You'll see there's no pictures of any of the locals there or any of their homes because I didn't want to invade their privacy. But this is a picture of the library. All of these books are donated by people. People actually that come into Slab City as tourists, after they see this, they'll actually go home and they'll box up some old books or books that they want to get rid of, and they will actually FedEx them or UPS them to the library here. Pretty awesome. There are no library cards. You don't have to check books in or check books out. You can stay there and read. If you want to take a book, you can take a book. If you want to donate a book, if you want to return the book you checked out, you can. If you want to just keep it, you can. It's basically, again, no rules. That's really the basis of Slab City. Is no rules, no laws, that type of thing. This is another picture of inside the library. I believe this is a picture of the bar area, so you can get a drink there. There's refrigerators. I believe they have got beer in there, soda, water, that type of thing. Again, very interesting. This is, again, another shot of inside the library. If you notice the roof is made out of pretty much a tarp, a plastic tarp that's deteriorating pretty badly. There's a large tree, and you'll see it in a picture in just a second. There's a large tree that kind of hangs over to keep it shaded and some of the weather out. But a lot of these books are pretty weathered because when it does rain in Slab City, which is rare, they get less than 3 inches a year of rain. But when it does rain, it obviously would come through that deteriorated tarp. Nothing can really withstand that heat and sun out there. So they would have to replace that tarp probably annually. They don't invest that type of money into Slab City or the library. So it's deteriorating. A lot of the books are weathered from rain damage, etc. But that's just another picture of the library. This is outside the side of the library, so you can see there are rules. There are rules in Slab City, and typically the landowner or the business owner will post their rules. This one here says leash dogs. Now you have to leash your dogs over at the range as well in different places. East Jesus, you need to leash your dogs. They really don't want dogs just roaming around and running around. Someone might get bit, someone, that type of thing. I didn't see any dogs roaming around when I was in Slab City, so I'm curious if it's different in the wintertime. I don't know, but you can see leash dog sign to the right of that. It says ice cold beer. You're welcome to come in. Anyone's welcome to come in and partake in the library. This is the entrance. So this is where I pulled up in my vehicle. This is the entrance to the library, Slab City Library. Again, you can see that now, that large tree that sits over a good portion of the roof of the library. It really is what protects that building from the sun and from the elements. So interesting enough. Now this is the entrance. I mentioned East Jesus. So when you come up to that T in the road, the main road, if you turn right, you go towards the library. If you turn left, you go towards East Jesus. East Jesus is a compound of art, and it's very fascinating. There's some cool stuff in there. Because there are no laws in Slab City, a lot of people from out of town will come in and they will actually dump their trash in Slab City because why pay to go to the dump when you can go into Slab City for free and just dump your crap all over the desert out there. So what these people do is they will repurpose a lot of that stuff, okay? And they'll turn it into art. So this is the entrance into East Jesus. I noticed this right away, an old bird cage that says East Jesus Daycare. Well, there you have it. It's pretty funny. You've got all these old abandoned, you can see how they use tires in the background to build fences. This is an old boat that was just docked there. They called it the abandoned ship, obviously. This is a old piano. This thing has probably been cooking in the sun for years and years and years. And notice the keys are replaced by the keys of an old typewriter. So there's something, a double entendre kind of thing going on there. There's a lot of old mannequins you can see in the background on the right. Just stuff all over the place. In fact, there's 2 typewriters on top of the piano as well. So this is just a long shot of East Jesus, trying to get kind of an idea to show you how big it is. This was a home that collapsed, and they put the Wicked Witch of the East's legs in there, obviously to represent, the Wizard of Oz. So there you go. So that's kind of interesting. And this is the building to the right of it. It says Black Lives Matter, and it's got all these political things, all these sayings, say their names, this type of thing. Obviously, it's a tribute to Black Lives Matter and everything that went on back in 2020 and all that type of stuff, all the riots or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, so you have a walkway back there. I didn't go back there just because of time. And to be honest with you, sometimes there's parts of this Slab City where you just don't feel super comfortable. So you kind of got to, choose where you want to go and where you don't want to go. This was an old Cadillac that was propped up on jack stands there. Who knows? It's got horns on the top. It's got some seats on the roof, that type of thing. It's just, that Cadillac was probably dumped there or it broke down. And rather than leaving it out in the middle of the desert somewhere, the person that runs East Jesus decided that he or she felt that it was artwork. So that's what they did. They propped it up. This is an old vacuum cleaner next to a toaster with big googly eyes on the front of it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was kind of cool. So I took a picture of that. There's on the left-hand side, I got a better picture of it coming up soon, but these are all old televisions that have had the glass broken out on the front of the tube and then replaced with a saying. So I have a better picture of that. There's these old cars, that old VW Bug there that's been turned into art. It's just, you really have to see it with your own eyes to understand it. That tower on the left is really cool. There's just that polka dotted recliner sitting there facing the TVs with all the sayings on it. You can see it says bow before, real women need a man. There's all kinds of things on there. Here's the best picture of it all. So you can see on the bottom left, it says Republicans are evil. If you move over to the bottom right, it says Democrats are evil. So there you go. It's non-political. It's apolitical, right? But these people, whoever built this, to me, tells me that it's more of a, you need to think for yourself. Don't be listening to politicians type of thing. So that's the message that I got. Maybe you agree. Maybe you don't agree. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. Leave your comments below. I'd love to read them. So here we have an old car that's been just bedazzled with, and they bedazzle things with beer caps and soda pop, caps and different things that they find just laying around. You can see the legs that are sticking up, the mannequin legs out of the roof of this vehicle. Again, artwork, this is an old VW Bug, which is really cool, by the way. That was probably worth money in its time, but it's all bedazzled and it has all types of things going on. It's got a mannequin head on the windshield, if you can see that. Quality control sign on the door. The door is open so you can look inside. Just a ton of things going on. And then behind it to the right, you're going to see pretty much a mud wall. It was built with mud and wine bottles or whiskey bottles. And I have a better picture of that coming up. There it is right there. So you can see that this whole wall, and that's the entrance to the people that live in East Jesus. So no one is allowed beyond that wall back into where they live, but they built that wall for privacy and for shade. And it's just fascinating. It's basically made out of mud, a little bit of straw or hay, and these wine bottles. So pretty amazing. The whole wall was created that way. All right. We won't get any more of those beeps. This was a spinning art piece. It looks like it's made out of old air-conditioned fans, but it's mounted on this pole, and all three of those spin when the wind blows. And it was pretty windy when I was there. I would say it was pretty breezy, pretty windy. But when it's 115 degrees, it's like having a hairdryer blow in your face. So it's not very refreshing. This is one of the ones that I found, I guess, the creepiest. But this old, it looks like a Pontiac. It's just covered in parts of dolls, doll heads, doll bodies, doll legs, torsos, everything. So it's kind of weird. I don't know. what is art to some people, it might be just odd or strange to others. This is definitely strange to me. That's the side of the vehicle. You can see how they used CDs, old compact discs, to kind of wrap that window, and then it's got a bunch of Barbie dolls and baby dolls stuck all over the vehicle. So, hey, whatever floats your boat. Creepy to me, might be cool to other people. You can see all the old bicycle wheels in the background. And just so much going on there. If you're a lover of art at all, I would recommend checking out East Jesus. If you're going to go to Slab City, check it out. Probably want to do it maybe in the winter. I've never been there in the winter, so I can't tell you what it's like. I know there's a lot more people and a lot more visitors. So if you want to be by yourself and you don't mind the heat, maybe you check it out in the summer. But if the heat isn't your thing, you definitely want to go out there in the wintertime. But again, more crowds. So just wait. And this is where you can donate to East Jesus. And that's how they live. They live off of donations, that type of thing. They've got a Venmo, a Cash App, a PayPal. You can leave donations if you're there, if you want to, if you actually want to donate while you're there. But you can certainly do that. It's your option. And then they have this old plane. I thought that was really cool. You'll see that in just about every documentary about East Jesus or about Slab City. It's just about every one of them. They show that plane because it sticks out. It's pretty cool. And then there's that other piece of the artwork to the right of that. Pretty interesting. This is Salvation Mountain. So Salvation Mountain, this is an old vehicle that's parked in front of Salvation Mountain. This here itself is Salvation Mountain. So this was built, I think, back in the 60s. I'm actually forgetting. I'll post on this video the person that actually built this, but he built this out of like hay bales or straw bales and mud and just layers upon layers of paint. In fact, when I went there, I had heard that they repaint this thing every year. When I was talking to the woman that was working, I guess she was volunteering at Salvation Mountain, she said that they work on it every day. The gentleman that created this has since passed away, but the person that took it over is protecting it and keeping it and repainting it every day. So you can donate to Salvation Mountain as well. That'll help you buy or help them buy cans of paint. You can see all the cans of paint that are lined up. They paint each can and then they line it up. It's part of the artwork. But Salvation Mountain, the gentleman that created Salvation Mountain was a God-fearing man, and this was his tribute. And pretty interesting. So you used to be able to go through on the very right side of this picture. You can see it's gated off, but you used to be able to go through it and on top of it. But because it's starting to fall apart and deteriorate over time, they have pretty much shut it off to being able to walk on it. You can walk up on the blue part, the river there, and there's an area there you can walk up to so you can get close-up pictures and things. And I do have a couple. But as far as walking on the mountain itself or through the hallways and things, it's pretty much shut down. This is kind of a far off shot of it. This was me. This is actually one part of the area that you can walk into still. It's just kind of like a little room, and it's got all kinds of pictures all through it. Went in there for some shade and had the wife take a picture of me while I was in there. That's another one. And then this is the left side of Salvation Mountain, and you can see how some of the hay is exposed. You used to be able to, on the left there, you used to be able to walk up on top of it, but they have that all blocked off now, and they're asking that you don't walk on top of it anymore. And that's me there in front of it. It says, say, Jesus, I'm a sinner. Please come upon my body and into my heart. So that's what it's all about. It's all about salvation. It's all about that. So pretty interesting. I had a great time while I was there. Pretty interesting place. I will tell you this about Slab City. There are parts of it like Salvation Mountain, and I did feel very comfortable in East Jesus. I felt comfortable in the library as well. I don't know if it's because it was so hot, there was just nobody around. The library attendant was there. He gave me a tour, or he gave me some, not really a tour, but information about the library. Pretty interesting. But I will say this too, and I didn't take any pictures because of privacy reasons. Again, I don't want to invade people's privacy or anything like that. But when you go in, the minute you drive into Slab City, there's homes that people, and I say that in quotes because everything is made out of just pretty much junk and or old RVs that they buy that don't run. I don't know if they have them towed into their spot. I don't know. I'm really not sure how they get the stuff there, but there's a lot of usage of pallets, a lot of usage of old box springs off of beds and things like that. They strip them down, they make them into fences, or they maybe use the pallets to make it into kind of a balcony or a porch, so they're somewhat shaded. It's very, very impoverished. It's very poor. Again, a lot of drug use. A lot of the people that live there year round are there for reasons of their own. But I couldn't help feeling very sad for the people there. I know a lot of them, that's the choice that they choose to live there. But I left with just an overwhelming sadness for the town in general. Because there are no laws and there's no protection. Now, the police will come in. I don't know if it's the county sheriff or the local police. They will come in if called, but they don't really come in at all to patrol the area or keep it safe. So just 4 months ago, there was a young man. His name was Poe. He was murdered in Slab City. It still hasn't been figured out. The locals feel they know who did it, but there's been really no investigation. When I was there, there were a bunch of burnt down areas, a bunch of burnt down trailers. And what happens is, if they don't like you, if the locals don't like you in Slab City, or you do something to violate the one rule, which is really to keep to yourself and don't steal things from other people, don't invade other people's property. Because what happens is they'll get together and they'll either wait till you're gone, or in the middle of the night, they'll just burn your place down. So if you're living in an old mobile home that's covered in pallets, I imagine in that dry heat in Southern California, that would burn up pretty fast. So they will burn your place down. Since I was there, there's a place up next to the skate park. It was called, the Handlebar. And the Handlebar was supposedly a soup kitchen for people that were poor, whether they lived in Slab City or not, if they wanted to come by and get a meal or whatever they could. And my understanding was there were a lot of younger people living there or staying there, and they were very emaciated, if that's how you say it. They were hungry, and they weren't eating very much. And anyway, someone must have had a beef with the people that were running this place, because they torched it. They burnt the whole thing down. That was just less than a week ago, because it was right after I was there. There were other places that were just burnt down. And that's the thing. If you upset somebody or you don't keep to yourself, your stuff is going to get burnt down. They're going to chase you out of there. They don't want you there. Or worse, like the young man Poe, you may not survive it. So there have been people that have lived there for a long, long time, and there are people that move in thinking they're going to stay there, and they don't. The lady that I spoke to that was volunteering at Salvation Mountain, she told me that her quote, bribery works. So you want to bribe people to stay safe. If that's, if you have the funds and you have the ability to do that, I suppose that would be fine. She told me that she bribes people with sandwiches, sandwich wraps, and iced tea and things like that, where she'll be able to run to a local store, local Walmart, wherever it might be, and purchase these items, and it helps keep her safe. So whether it's bribery or something else, you make up your mind. Again, I'd love to hear your comments, but that was my experience at Slab City. I felt sad when I left there. I felt very uneasy. I did see a few folks, a few of the locals there, and I did see a younger man in one of the dwellings, and it looked like he was starving. His, if you remember pictures back in the day from National Geographic, and you see some people from third countries where their ribs are sticking out, and their arms and their legs are just, I mean, he probably weighed under 100 pounds, and he was probably 5'8", 5'10", and I would say maybe 17, 18 years old. So it's just a depressing place. In the wintertime, I can't comment. I've never been there in the winter, but that's when a lot of snowbirds will come down from the north, and they will find a slab and park their RVs, and they'll stay there all winter. Again, because it's free. You don't pay anybody. It's tax free. So if you have a means to water, and if you have a generator for electricity, that type of thing, you can live for free in your RV all winter long, and then maybe head north again when the weather becomes warm again. But that's it. Slab City, interesting place. It's not for everybody. If you're into art and you want to check it out, I would recommend checking it out, but do it during the day. They said the night can become a little rowdy, a little unsafe. That's when all the precarious things take place, is at nighttime. So I don't recommend staying there overnight. But I felt safe, but I felt uneasy when I was there during the day. That's it. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Check it out. Don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button, and share it out with some friends. It really helps. And comment below. Until next time, put your cell phones down and enjoy the show.